Okay. So tonight's topic is called Friends and Them. And I wanted to do something a little bit more interactive tonight. So I hope that you guys have your pens, have your pads. I hope you're ready for this chat. If 2020 has taught me anything, it has shown me that it will do what it wants, how it wants, and it is going to be relentless in whatever initiative it chooses to pursue. And so right now, it's just been really heavily impressed upon my heart to talk about relationships and proper placement. And I can sometimes be a visual learner. And I think that when we see something and we hear it, it's easier to retain and then apply the information. So the teacher in me is going to take her jab at that. So tonight we are going to have a presentation on the screen. So let's jump into it, shall we? I want to specifically talk about relational intelligence in the category of friends. And so tonight, I want us to do a heart check where we are thinking about the type of friend that we have been and then the type of friend that we need. And while doing that, I want us to take into account what a friend really is and if we possibly have put people in friendship categories that haven't earned that title. Okay, so the first question that I want you to ask yourself tonight is, have I properly aligned my relationships? When we're thinking about people and we're thinking about placement, have you done your due diligence to put people in their places? And I'm not saying that from a place of being mean or saying it from a place of just being nasty, but ultimately it's our responsibility to ensure that people are in the right place when it comes to the roles that they are to fulfill in our lives. They're not going to do it by themselves. They need your help. And so they can only be what they know they're to be to you. But if you've not communicated that to them, then they often find themselves operating in roles that were not reserved for them. So have you done your due diligence? Have you done the work and put people in their places? That's question number one. So when we think about it, I wanted to have a working definition about what a friend is so that when we're talking about it, we're all thinking about it from the same vantage point, or we're all looking at it from the same vantage point and from the same working definition. Okay. So a friend is someone that God escorts into our environment because they need to be something for us in order for us to be what he needs us to be for him. Does that make sense? So friends are brought into our environments, they're brought into our spaces to help us become who we are intended to be one to another so that we can be who we are destined to be for him. Friends also offer far more than company. And so I think a lot of times what happens is we put people in the friend category because we need company. We don't want to be alone. We're afraid of some of what is required in loneliness. And oftentimes that means we're afraid of facing ourselves, right? So we enjoy the company. So we allow people to become companions in our lives and we misclassify them as friends because they provide company. But a friend does far more than that. A friend helps us fulfill or carry out our calling. So if you surrounded yourself with people that you're calling friends, but they're not helping you walk out or fulfill the mandate of your calling, then quite possibly that's not a friend. And it's okay. Sometimes it's through trial or error. It's sometimes we don't really find out that this really isn't a friend until the opportunity to be something different presents itself, right? And so while we are classifying people, while we're defining, who they are and what they mean to us, let's test the relationship. Let's look at the reliability. Let's look at who they've been to us and what we've been to them and the reciprocity. And has it been symbiotic or has it been parasitic? Because a symbiotic relationship is one where we are both feeding into the relationship and we are both reaping the benefits of the relationship. That's symbiotic. Parasitic is when one has latched itself onto another and is reaping sole benefits of that relationship while the other person is being depleted. And so that's not helping me fulfill my call. That's depleting me of the energy and the resources necessary for me to become who I was sent to earth to be. And if you listen to one of the posts I put up here recently, I really talked about the importance of leaning into your people and leaning into your purpose, because this is the season in which that right alignment is going to help catapult you into what's next. But if you are misaligned in your relationships, you will find yourself in unnecessary toils, which are then depleting you from the resources necessary for you to walk out the call that is placed upon your life. And so I am asking you to really consider, when you put the word friend out there, is that person worthy of that title? Have they been tried? Have they been proven? Have they shown themselves to be a friend, right? And so let's talk about it. Like, maybe you say, well, Jamila, I don't know. What are you basing that criteria on? I'm glad you asked. So when we think about the qualities of a friend, the first quality that I would like to point our attention to is the fact that they need to be a person of great character and integrity. Van Moody, the author of the book entitled The People Factor, he wrote that every relationship impacts you in some way. It either helps or it hurts. It builds up or it tears down. It brings you higher or it brings you lower. There is no relationship that has no impact. Every relationship that you are engaged in is impacting you one way or another. And so if it is not on the positive node, then that is not a friend. Okay. What's the second quality? That they have the capacity to give and receive love. And I changed this one up a bit because it's hard to give what you don't know how to receive, right? And so you've got to love me, because love does what? It covers a multitude of sins. It covers a multitude of faults. Love is long suffering. It doesn't judge. It doesn't boast. It is not envious, right? So a friend has to be able to, one, be the recipient of love, and they have to be able to give love, because if we're in relationship, you're going to see me at my very worst, and you've got to be able to love me through it. That way I reach what? I reach a fulfilled purpose. I reach the mandate that has been placed upon my life. Only love can do that. Like intolerance will not. So a friend loves at all times. A brother is born in times of adversity. Who and what brother or kindred relationships have you formed? What brotherly love have you experienced in your times of adversity? I can tell you, I spoke to this before in a relationship, just assessment that I needed to do. And I said, it was at one of the lowest points in my life when I felt like I was in the deepest of the deep, that I was able to look up, and the faces that I saw were the people that really, really had shown themselves as a friend, because those were the people who, one, they didn't just stand as spectators, but they threw the rope down in the tunnel and they said, you will come out of this. There's more to this than this. Now, this foundation or this pit will not become your foundation, but it will be a leaping pad for you to reach your next thing. So truly, adversity is really where you find out if this is friend or foe, because adversity will reveal the truth of that person's character and yours. Adversity, it causes us to be roughed up against the rock. It causes us to be backed into the corner where all of what we know and all that we've ingested will come out. And so adversity shows the truth of who you are. So have you gained brothers or have you gained foes in your times of adversity, in the relationship category of those that you call friends? It's something to consider. The other quote that I really like that Dharius Daniels wrote, and he said, you have to handle the best of me and the worst of me without changing how you deal with me. And really, only a friend can do that. Only a friend, because if they don't fall into that friend category, when you are at your worst, how you are handled often changes when that person is not a friend. When that person is someone who actually just happens to be a passerby, or someone who is a temporal are holding a temporal position in your life, if you will. They can't handle the worst of you. They don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to do so. And so how they begin to respond to you changes. But a friend can see you at your worst and still call you who you are at the peak of your identity. A friend can look at you in the trenches of what you're going through and still say, but I know who you are and I know you've been purposed to be. And what's happening right now is temporal. And we're going to shift your perspective so that you can see that you'll grow and that you'll live beyond this. Only a friend can do that. And so we've got to make sure that when we say friend, that the person actually embodies the qualities of that, and they're not someone who's misclassified. And I'm going to show you what those other categories are here in a minute. But back to the friend. A friend balances honesty and grace We must love people enough to tell them the truth, even if it's a truth that we haven't mastered and we know they don't want to hear it. And that is a mouthful, so I'm going to say it again. We must love people enough to tell them the truth, even if it's a truth that we have not mastered and we know they do not want to hear it. That is tough. That is challenging because only a friend can hear the truth of a statement, even when they know that the person telling them hasn't mastered that level. That's tough because a critic will say, how dare you speak to me about something that I haven't seen you master? Does it make it any less the truth because it's still something that I'm working through? Does it make it any less the truth because I faltered in this area? Doesn't make it any less the truth because, you've seen me in the same predicament. No, it doesn't make it any less the truth. It's just a truth that now we both have to face. It's a truth that we now both have to come to terms with because the truth is the only thing that sets us free, walking and living in truth. I may not get it right every time, but the truth is what? Still the truth. And I don't care if you don't want to hear it. I'd rather tell you the truth than for you to walk out a lie and then go to a place that you didn't have to go to had I just been the one to tell you the truth. Can we do that? Do you have people in your life that are doing that for you on a consistent basis? And are those people classified as friends? This is the stuff that we've got to work through. If we're going to grow relationally, if we're going to have emotional health and wellness in our relationships, these are some of the things that we have to be looking for as present qualities in those that we are doing life with. I read something in this book and God really just made me go back and pull it on the shelf because I'm in a season where he's really making me do some assessments about those that I am in close corners with, are those that I do life with. And he's saying, are they in the right positions? And he's calling my bluff on some of them. And one thing that is really challenging is when you have classified someone as a friend for so long, even when the nature of the relationship has shifted and you don't know how to let that go, because now I'm comfortable with this and I don't want to move beyond my comfort in this relationship, even if it's hurting me, even if it's, no longer serving me well. I don't know how to do life without this crutch or this person. And so I still classify them as a friend when they're not worthy of that title any longer. It's challenging, but until we do it, we're not going to reach our highest potential. Why? Because friends help us fulfill the call that is upon our lives. And so you have to have true friends in your proximity to reach that. Okay. Qualities of a friend continue. They have to be heavy on the encouragement. Friends should never be your competition. Friends should never be the ones that you have to justify your worth to, because a true friend is going to aid you in getting done what you could not do on your own. And they're going to continue to push you even when belief in what you're doing is fleeting. Even when you feel unworthy, the friend is going to continue to do that. They're going to, and they have the capacity and the bandwidth to do it. They don't get tired. They may take a reprieve, but they don't quit on you. They don't walk away on you. They don't say, you know what, you've become so much of a burden that, I don't want to keep having to pacify you. But it shouldn't be a pacification. It should be considered encouragement, okay? And a friend sees beyond your present circumstances and they speak to the person that you have yet to become, and they call them forth, and they continue to call them until they come forth boldly. And that is something that only a friend can do, because a foe can't see you beyond where you are. A foe can't see you beyond their tainted perspective of you. A foe cannot see you beyond their limited expectations of what you have the capacity to become. Only a friend can see you in the season that you're in and beyond, and continue to call you forth until you come forth fully. That takes time. That requires sacrifice. That requires diligence. That requires selflessness. These are the qualities that it really takes to do that, because often, it means you got to give up something in order to be that to somebody. And that is only warranted in friendship. You should not be sacrificial with associates. that they don't own that. That's not what they are. They haven't grown to be deserving of that. A friend is one who becomes sacrificial in. And I'm gonna go off beat here for just a second, because one of the things that I would always tell people when it came to the relationship between me and my husband is that we were always friends. There was nothing that I could not say when we were dating that made me feel like he would run from me, or just say, you know what, I don't have the bandwidth or the capacity for that. And so at the core of every relationship, be it ministerial, be it marital, be it whatever, the friend, when there is a friendship foundation can truly bear the adversity. Friendships, we can always come back and we can laugh and we can talk. We go to bed with peace in our hearts because we're friends. And so I know that you would never say anything to maliciously attack me. I know that you would never say anything to diminish my worth, but you will tell me the truth. And so in friendship, we can have hard conversations and still come back and laugh and joke as if not as if nothing has happened, but moving past beyond what has happened, because at the core of it, we're friends. We're friends. And so you got to have people that you really have, do they have these qualities? Have they shown themselves worthy to be called friend? $1 million question. Relentless reliability. A friend must have relentless reliability. Can they bear the weight of you? Can they? I'm going to take you back to a couple weeks ago, because we talked about the bamboo tree, right? And we talked about the complex root system that it must have to bear the weight of all that tree will become above ground. You have to have friends that are like a complex root system, that while you're being processed and while you're being groomed, before they see who you've yet to become, there has to be something that will keep you grounded. There has to be something that will keep you nourished. There has to be something that can bear the weight of the winds and the trials that will come through life. They have to be able to bear the seasons as life presents themselves to you. That's what friends do. They are our roots. They keep us grounded. They keep us nourished. They keep us anchored, right? And so reliability, I can trust you with the weight of me. I can trust you with the capacity that is me. Only a friend can do that. And in order to do that, what that friend has to be one that can see you beyond where you are. Because when you can bear the weight of me, there's no need to compete with me. There's no need to diminish me. You see where I'm going, and nothing about where I'm going makes you say, I don't know that I can handle that. I don't know that I can do that. You got to have somebody that is relentless, somebody that says, listen, I'm going to stretch you. I'm going to push you. And when you spring forward, I'm still going to anchor you. What would have happened if Moses didn't have people who were relentless and reliability surrounding him, holding up his arms? You got to have somebody that's going to hold you. You got to have, my mama said it yesterday, you got to have somebody that's going to spot you. Listen, when the weight of life begins to cause my knees to buckle, can I lean on you for a minute? Can I take a breath? I don't want to quit. I don't want you to become one that pacifies me to quit or says it's okay to give up. I want you to be the person that I can put my weight on you for just a season, and then I can count on you to push me back in the game. I can count on you to say, get back in and don't quit. It's just hard right now, but it's not. This is just a season. This is just a part of the process. Can I rely on you? If you said that you're going to be there, were you there? If you said that you saw where God was taking me and you were going to help me get there, can I rely on you to do that even when I don't believe it, when I feel like it's not going to come to pass? Can I rely on you to still say, you know what, God said it is, so it can't be otherwise. So we only speak what God said. Can I rely on you? Will you be there? Will you be there when life is beating me up? Will you be there just to listen and maybe not say a word? Will you be there? Can I count on you? Or do I have to question the situations to determine if that's something that I can rely on you for? Do I have to compartmentalize your reliability based on your preference? Just these are the questions that you have to be able to ask when it comes to, are they worthy of being called a friend? Being consistent in relationships is truly a testament of your character. When you learn how to be consistent with yourself, it's easier to become consistent relationally. When you make a promise to yourself and you continue to break that promise, that will inevitably find itself materializing in your other relationships. It will happen because you have trained yourself to believe that it's optional when I say I'm going to do a thing. It's not a non-negotiable, it's optional. I can choose to do it, I can choose to not do it. And so when you do that to yourself, you will in turn do that to others, which then says, you know what, you may not be a person of strong character and integrity. You might not be that because you know what, you said that you were on a diet, but you're eating ice cream. So I don't know. You said that you're going to be here at 9, it's 9:15. You said, is this a pattern that you see perpetuated? And what you need to be asking yourself is, listen, are they, do they keep their promises to themselves? Well, if they don't keep their promises to themselves, the likelihood of them keeping their promises to me is pretty slim to none because people love themselves. I mean, we're self. That it's the nature of humanity. Self is typically first. People can say that they're selfless and they're caring, and that is all well and good. But at the end of the day, you go to sleep with yourself, you wake up with yourself. Throughout the day is you and yourself. So self can sometimes pollute the filter through which we decide if something is negotiable or non-negotiable. So keep your promises to you, and you'll be able to keep your promises to others. Does that make sense? Are you guys finding your friends in this category? Are the people that you called friends aligning with these characteristics or no? Let's go back. Let's see. Is this person of great character? Do they have the capacity to receive and give love? Do they balance honesty with grace? Are they heavy on the encouragement? Are they relentless with their reliability? These are what we are categorizing as characteristics of those that we call friend. Are the people measuring up or no? And if no, well, maybe they fall into another category. So what are some of the other relational categories? An associate. A person with whom you have periodic or consistent association, typically someone that you continue to have interconnecting schedules with. So this is commonly found in workspaces, ministerial assignments, cell groups, coffee shops, the places where you typically always go the same time, the same place, and these people always seem to show up. So now we're like, hey, I can always count on you to be at Starbucks at 7 a.m. on Thursday. And so now we've created a norm surrounding them. So, it's on a weekly basis. So it's a bi-monthly basis. It's a quarterly basis, whatever. We know that we're going to have an intersecting schedules. Person should be assigned to this category when there hasn't been enough interest, time, or desire to form the kind of requirements a friend does. So when we have not developed interest or desire to develop the connection required for friendship, they should remain in the associate category. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you may find that you have placed people in an associate category and they consider you friends. So they may share their life with you. They may divulge information to you. They may have a level of comfort with you that maybe you haven't developed with them. And that is fine. It is your responsibility, as I said at the top of this broadcast, to categorize people accordingly. So they may call you friend, but you may call them associate, and that is okay, because you have not tested them in the qualifications required of friendship, so that you personally should not be calling them friend, and you should not feel bad about that. You have to know what people are to you, and you have to be okay with calling people who they are to you, and you don't necessarily owe the rest of the world an explanation about that. Okay? Are they an assignment, a trainee, a mentee, or an advisee? Listen, the premise of this relationship is to provide guidance, mentorship, coaching, or training for another person. Okay, so this is where you have taken on the role of training, being a mentor or a coach. Your primary role in that relationship is to give. You are to pour. So when you have been required to be one who pours, You cannot expect the mentee to be the mentor. You can't expect that from them, because that's not the premise of that relationship. The premise of that relationship is for you to pour, which is why you always need to make sure that you have those who pour into you, which would then be the advisor, right? But if they're your assignment, treat them as such. Set your expectations accordingly, right? And that's tough sometimes, because we're like, you know what? There's so much of an investment coming from me. I'm hoping to receive something back for them, but that's not their role. And so don't place the burden of them pouring back into you on them, because that's not the demographic of that relationship, guys. Okay. And another relational category is an advisor. These are our godsends, and I am grateful to have some of them surrounding me in this season. They have truly been exactly what I needed without me knowing they were what I needed. They make sure that they call me whenever God puts me on their heart. I get a phone call, I get a text. I could be often mid-thought about something, and my advisor will call me while I am in mid-thought and start speaking to the thought that I am trying to mull over. These are the people that are sent to our lives to provide guidance on specific areas of our lives. Everybody is not a subject matter expert in all things. And so an advisor will come to speak to the area in your life that they are a master in, if you will. And that's typically for a limited amount of time. What happens sometimes in these relationships, because they've been so good to us and they've poured so much into us, we then try to hold on to that relationship beyond the expiration date. And the expiration date is typically when the thing that they've been sent to help you master has been overcome. When you've achieved the success that they've been sent to help you achieve, it's time to let them go. And what happens is we hold on to those people because we're like, no, we don't want to let them go. We don't want to let them go. But what did I just say? They are the subject matter experts for that specific area in your life. So when the mission has been achieved, you got to be ready to let them go, because there may be someone else that they need to be an advisor for. And if they're still hung up with you, even though you've already become successful in the area that they've been sent to help you achieve, there's someone in the balance, right? And so we've got to know when to let them go, let them move on to the next assignment so that they can help foster that person into their next dimension of life, okay? So if they're not a friend, they could be what? An associate, an assignment, or an advisor. And you've got to know where to put people. Okay. So back to the friend zone, because tonight's topic is what? Friends. So why do we need them? Our friends are our esteem boosters. Having at least one person that you can truly rely on without reservation helps build your esteem. When I know I can rely on you, I know you got my back, I know I can kick back and laugh with you, I know that you see all of me and you love me regardless, that helps build esteem. On the flip side of that, the lack of friendship can have an adverse on your esteem, and it can sometimes make us more susceptible to feelings of loneliness and depression. So isolation is the trick of an enemy, and isolation is not where you want to find yourself. You want to find yourself around at least one or more persons that can help you, just let loose and be you. They love you all of who you are without reservation, and they're here to help you foster and continue to grow. Our friends keep us moving. Think about it. They help us get up and at them. I had a friend literally just text me before I got on here. She's like, hey, what's up with our meetup? We're supposed to be doing something. I was like, wait, I got bombarded by the week. I had so much stuff going on, but my friends reminded me, hey, we're supposed to be doing something fun. We're supposed to be enjoying life. Why? Because we only have the moment that we're present in. So let's make sure we live it to the fullest, right? They're the ones that will not let us be couch potatoes. They're the ones we take trips with. They're the ones that we experience new adventures with. And also they're the ones that we face our greatest fears with. They're positive influences. Listen, our friends should be influencing the better half of us. Okay, and there may be some fun that happens, right? They may bring out that little other side to us at times, but listen, our friends should be the ones that really shine the light on the good. And they're the ones that, we share goals with. And so what happens is if we're around people who are giving or ambitious or they're generous or they're goal oriented, by default, we then start to what? We start to share those characteristics one to another, and we become like-minded individuals moving in the same direction, which is why when you're around friends who are going the way you're going, the trail and the journey becomes easier because we have like-minded individuals who want the end result, so we don't get bombarded by the trivial and frivolous things of life because we got a mission in mind and we're headed that way. We're not worried about what's going on over here. We're not worried about what has dropped off of our hands. We're not worried about that. We are going this way. And so on the flip side of that, listen, if your friends are catty or envious or low-level thinkers, you'll find yourself embodying those characteristics as well. So if they're low thinkers, if they can't see beyond the circumstances that life has brought them to, if they can't think beyond the financial bracket that they were birthed into, you'll probably start taking on those characteristics as well. So you just have to be mindful of what it is that you surround yourself with. Now, listen, I want to look at a scripture because I do believe that scriptural references are important and they help us walk in all truth. So do not be misled. Bad companionship corrupts good morals. If you are surrounded with those who have bad morals, if you're surrounded with people who give off negative energy, if you're surrounded with people who always think about the negative instead of promoting the positive, this will become a norm for you. So you have to make sure that those that you put into the friendship category, those that you dare to do life with, you have to make sure that you are morally compatible so that you guys can foster the good that you've been sent to put into the world, right? I used to tell people during new employee orientation, you will only stay at a job that one is tied to your ethics and your morals or your personal convictions. And so when it becomes more than a job to you, but it's something that you can link to what's important to you, you will find yourself giving the best of you to that organization because it's aligned with who you are. Okay, so make sure whatever you're giving your life to, it's aligned with your morals and your ethics. Listen, whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companions of a fool will suffer harm. You walk with the wise, you will become wise. Why? Because wisdom is infectious, and people who are wise just, I don't know that they even think about it sometimes. When they speak, you can just hear the intellect, you can hear the experience, you can hear the truth that's been birthed in them, just oozing out and just regular old conversation. And it's not that you went to become a student, but they just speak in a way that makes you listen. There's something that is said that catches your attention. You're like, when I'm around you, I feel like I'm going to be made the better. When I'm around you, I feel like, you're going to give me something that I can readily apply to my life. Be found in the counsel of the wise. Now, you want to be in the companionship of fools. Be prepared to suffer harm. Why? Because fools are reckless. They do what they will. They say what they want, however they choose to. There's no remorse for a fool. A fool just operates however they want to. They have a haphazard way about them that often leads them to harm. Why? Because there's no consideration for their behavior or their actions or their words. They say it and they're like, so be it. And so then there are ramifications that come with that. And so if you are found in proximity of that, then you might be guilty by default, right? It's just like the person who didn't know that they were the getaway driver and they pull up to the store and they're told to wait, and then you come running in the car and you're like, what? And all of a sudden you become the getaway driver and you had no clue, but you followed the fool. You knew the person didn't have it all together, but you drove them to the store anyway. You know what that's capable of, maybe to that extent, but you got to think about it. What does their life show you about them? What are their patterns? Are they foolish or do they walk in the counsel of the wise? Make the determination with what you will choose to be associated with. So let's go back to the categories. You're responsible for putting the people in your life in their proper places, but this is only achievable once you come into the knowledge of what the categories are, the qualifications of each category. And now that I have knowledge, now that I have tools, I can put people in their places, because now I'm like, come to think of it, you're not really that reliable. Or, come to think about it, you're honest, but you don't exude grace in your honesty. You just, you just cut, right? Or think about it. Or you know what, maybe I was just sent into your life to pour into you, and that's perfectly fine. Let me put you in the proper place, because my friends, it's symbiotic, right? It's give and take. You, I just pour into, and that's perfectly fine. Again, that would be for a season. So once that jar has emptied out, it's time for me to, go back to my friend quadrant and get filled back up, and, move you on to your next dimension, wherever it is you're headed in life. And be a good advisor if you've been called to be that. Really speak to the heart of the matter if that's what God has called you to be in that person's life, because what you say as an advisor, people really take into account. And if you speak in error, it could be detrimental. So if you've been called to be an advisor, I pray that you really ask God for instruction on what it is that you're to say to those individuals, how you are to help foster them, because you don't want to lead them in the wrong direction. Okay. And to your assignments, again, don't put the burden of reciprocity on them. That's not what they have the capacity for. Okay. And so listen, God has called us to certain levels of relationship with certain people, not all people. And so I think what I have seen happen is we take the scripture of he who wants friends has to show himself friendly, and we've made it a blanket that, you are to be everyone's friend. The Bible says, I don't know man nothing but to love them. Okay. It did not call me to be everyone's friend. That is not the mandate. The mandate is to be a friend to those God has called me to be a friend to. And he's called me to certain levels of relational engagement with others. And that is what I'm going to hold myself to. Do not hold yourself or make yourself feel that you have been a poor person because you've not been a friend to everyone that you come across. That they may not be, and that's not the role. They are, maybe they are an assignment. Maybe you're their advisor. Whatever it is, you're not called to do that in all areas of your life. So I just want you to be cognizant of that, because I think what happens is, we start to be made to feel bad for something that's not warranted. Okay. So I have your journal prompts on the screen, so I hope you guys grab those. I'm a little over my time tonight, but I really want to make sure that we had a heart to heart about relationships, because in this season, you guys, so much is happening and so much is changing, and if there are internal things happening as well as what's happening in the world today. And so if you're not in the position where you are surrounded by friends during these transitional times, it can be really detrimental. And so I just want to make sure that when we call one friend, they've been qualified as such. But in order to do that, I also want us to take some introspection. Okay. So what kind of friend have you been? And I have a couple questions that I want to run by you while you're thinking about it. What kind of friend, have I been? What ways do I demonstrate my character in my relationships? Do people see the heart of me? Am I showing up for real, or am I a camouflage? Am I a counterfeit in my relationships? Am I dependable? Am I honest but graceful with my friends? Do I push them beyond circumstances? Am I sacrificial in my commitment to my friendships, or am I just wanting them to be everything that I need them to be, and there's minimal to no reciprocity? What kind of friend have you been? Do you love them beyond their current circumstances, even when their current circumstances are weighty? Do you pick up the phone when they call you? Do you lend the listening ear? Do you help them shift perspectives? Can they laugh with you? Can they be free with you? What kind of friend have you been? And if you've not been the best of friends to those that you call friend, it might be time to apologize. Right? Because friendships go through seasons, and you've got to know the kind of friend to be in the season, right? I talked about this before, and there are relational seasons that we go through, and then there are personal relationships that we may be going through. And so you have to be able to find the healthy balance between the two, so that your relationships don't falter and that good people don't leave your life because you didn't know how to serve them well in the season. So have you been a good friend? And if you have, kudos to you. Continue to be that, because your people need you. Your people really need you in this hour. Life is coming at us really fast. It's coming at us really, really hard. And there are things that are happening at a moment's notice. And we're going to need our friends. We need our people. I don't like the hashtag no new friends. I don't like the hashtag self-made. I don't, because we're not self-made. We are the sum total of our relationships. We are the sum total of the input of our advisors. We are the sum total of our pouring out. We are the sum total of those periodic associations. We're not what we are just because we are who we are independently. That's not true. And so you need people, but you got to have the right people. And I would love if we could really start talking about collaboration, because when we get into this I don't need people thing, everything becomes a competition, because now you always see the other person as an opposer. I kind of went off on a tangent there, I know, but that no new friends, throw that so far from to the east or the west or whichever way it's cool, throw it, because that's not true. You need your people, and your people really need you. Okay, so in thinking about it, what kind of friend do you need? In this season, can you be honest with the people who have vowed to be a friend to you and tell them what you need from them? Because people can only be held to what they have been advised of. If you've never said to them, I need you in this capacity, but you have an unspoken expectation that they show up for you in that way, that's a disservice to the one that you call friend. They could possibly be the greatest lifeline to you, but if they don't know what you need and it all has to be left up to speculation and chance, you're not going to get the wealth that you could in your friendship. You won't. And so I really want us to think about that. I really want us to really just dive into, what kind of friend do I need? Am I safe enough to communicate that? Am I safe enough to say, you know what, I need my friend to be this for me. My friend being this to me matters. I need that. And so I really want us to just, think about that, if you will, in this season. What kind of friend have I been? What kind of friend do I need? Have I misaligned any of my relationships? And I'm going to say it one more time before we get off. You can be a friend, you can be an associate, you can be an assignment, or you can be an advisor. And people can change in categories. And so there are instances where associates do become friends once they've been proven in the qualifications of friendship, and that's great. There are other times where they don't. There are times where there can be a shifting. And so be open to that as well. But what I want us more importantly, and above all else, to do is to get to the point to where we say, you know what? I do need my people. I need my people. My people matter. I want to be, I do want to be better in my relationships. I do want to be better in my friendships. I do want to show up fully in all the things. And we only do that again when we come into the knowledge of what it means to be a friend. We only get that when we come into the knowledge of what it means to be an associate, and we are brave enough to put people in their proper places so that we get the most out of every relationship that we're engaged in. My prayer is always that something was said that resonated with you, that helps you get to the next phase. I pray that you take the journal prompt seriously and really just spend some time in meditation reflecting on how you show up in your relationships and how people are showing up for you, and just be honest about it, because now more than ever, we've got to be mindful of how we spend our time. We've got to be mindful of the company that we're keeping. I think the coronavirus has opened our eyes to a lot of things. I don't know that we anticipated coming into the knowledge of so many things relationally and in the introspection that the season has required. But as you make your transitions, as we move into the fall season, the season of harvest, I pray that the people that surround, that help you carry the spoils, are the people that were helping you plant the seeds. And they're just not here to eat off your tables, but I pray that they are here to help carry the spoils that they were diligent enough to help you plant. Your next season really depends on the people that you surround yourself with. So be cognizant of that, be diligent, and don't be afraid. If you have to say, you know what, I have misaligned this relationship, and so I've got to be honest with you and with myself and really realign my expectations when it comes to our engagement. And I pray that you can understand that. Not to say that it will stay there forever, but this is the season that our relationship is in now. And so it's best for us if we serve each other in the way that the relationship requires. And be okay with that. It's fine. And then there will be days where it comes back around. And if you need books and resources, y'all know I have a library full of them. I'm happy to share them with you. One of the books that I'm currently reading right now is by Dharius Daniels. It's called Relational Intelligence. If you know me, you guys know that I absolutely adore Dharius Daniels. I'm a student, so if you are a teacher, you will always have my attention. Another book that I think really helps with this area is a book that is entitled Boundaries. I've spoken to that book quite a few times. And another book that I think is great is called Necessary Endings. And these are all the things that help us put our relationships in the right perspective so that we live a life well lived, that we fulfill our purpose. Why? Because friends offer more than company. They help us manifest our calling. So have an amazing night. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Let me know if y'all like the presentation. I'm trying to try some new things. I am a teacher, so I do like to be able to incorporate visual aids and things like that so that we can all learn and grow together. I love you guys so very much. Have an amazing night. Bye.